everyone. Welcome to Ghost Note. I'm your host for today's chilling tale. Here, we don't just tell ghost stories, we live them together. So, grab your headphones, dim the lights, and let the silence sink in. Because what you're about to hear might just keep you awake tonight. And just imagine every sense of this story, and think about the ambiguity of this story. So let's begin. The key fought him all the way into the lock, as if the door had decided in his absence that it preferred staying shut. When it finally gave, the house exhaled, a damp, salt-heavy breath that carried the ghosts of summers long gone. Ethan hadn't been here in years. He'd come back for the paperwork, to sort out the estate after his father's passing, maybe keep a few mementos. He wasn't expecting the rush of memory. The smell of his father's cheap cologne, the kitchen linoleum scuffed in the same spot, the attic door that always stuck. Asterisk. What he hadn't expected at all were the tapes. They were piled in a dusty crate in the living room. Labels scrawled in his father's quick, jagged handwriting. Night recording. Do not play 3 a.m. Next to them, an old VHS player and a battered radio with a blood-red tuning dial. Asterisk. That night, with the rain tapping at the windows, Ethan fed one into the player. He expected static. Instead, his father's voice filled the room, thin, strained. "If you hear this," he said, "don't answer the door. Don't open the window. If someone calls your name, stay where you are. Lock everything, and never, ever go outside after midnight." It didn't sound like a warning. It sounded like a rule. One learned the hard way. Ethan laughed it off. But later that night, during a power cut, those words sat heavy in the dark. The next day, he asked around. The townsfolk didn't like questions. A waitress at the diner changed the subject. The post office clerk just stared, like she'd almost remembered something she didn't want to. In the county archive, he found a folder marked missing. Some pages had names scratched out, others had dates that stopped abruptly. One tape had only a date written on it. The night before, his mother vanished. He played it. First his father's voice. "I'm scared. If you get this, Ethan, don't trust how quiet it is." Then, a woman's voice, his mother's, soft but tight with fear. "Mark, this isn't right. Promise me you'll stop." A rush of water, muffled gasps. "I can't see. I can't." The tape cut. By the fourth night, Ethan had stopped sleeping properly. He set up a camera in his room. At 3:13 a.m., a shadow crossed the hallway. Moments later, his phone vibrated. Unknown number, he answered. Someone was breathing, then faintly, "Come," almost. Without realizing, he found himself on the old jetty, the sea wind sharp in his lungs. The lighthouse stood black against the sky. On a flat rock lay his mother's wristwatch. Fogged glass, the hands frozen at 3:13. He told himself not to touch it. He touched it. A sound rose. Not wind, not waves, whispers. People listing strange, ordinary things. Birthdays, soup, keys, and then his own voice. "Remember, at the edge of the jetty, something moved. A figure in a coat. When it turned, it was his own face. Blank-eyed mouth hollow." His phone rang again. The caller ID unrecognizable. On the other end, a recording of his own childhood laugh. He ran, back home. A knock at the door. Soft, patient, through the peephole. A girl, maybe 8 years old, smiling faintly. Her eyes didn't blink. "You forgot," she said. Not a question. Something in him broke. Memories of his mother flooded in. Her laugh, the shawl she wore, the way she hummed while washing dishes. He thought, if I keep remembering, they can't take her. He took the child's hand, cold, damp. That night, the camera caught a thin figure standing in the hallway, still as a photograph. The audio recorded a voice. His father's low between words. They start small. The first things you forget are the ones they keep warm. Then they slip inside. Ethan stayed. He began writing everything down: names, smells, places, stuffing the notes into drawers, the radio, the tape player. The girl still came, sometimes leaving strange things on the porch: a shoe, a button, a photograph with the face rubbed out. The tapes still played themselves some nights. The voices were changing. One morning, sitting on the jetty at dawn with the watch in his palm, Ethan realized the hands would never move again. Maybe the past wouldn't either. He couldn't leave now, not while the house was still full of names, and deep down, he knew the truth. Remembering might keep them away for a while, but forgetting would open the door forever. This was our first story. If you all support us, then we will present to you the true story that will chill your blood. That's it for today. Join us again for the next story. Bye-bye.